Midwest renegade hooligan who was here repping it heavily. Dookie Mane. And no shade. Take 2 shots straight to the brain. Ice grilled out like I'm hella paid. Whoa. Take your ass up to the helipad. Toss your ass in to propeller blades. You know the boys stay too insane. What? Renegade, renegade, renegade. Midwest renegade hooligan who was here repping it heavily. Dookie Mane. And no shade. Take 2 shots straight to the brain.
You know he's married to a black woman too, right?
Who, George Lucas?
Yeah.
I love him even more. Shit.
Yeah.
Dope.
And they've been married for like 50 years.
Gee, I want to be married to a black woman.
Yeah. And ain't neither one of them cute. That's what's funny as shit.
All right, here we're going live in 3, 2, 1. Let's get it.
What's up, folks? Welcome to Noise from Nowhere. It's your man Osh from the Ghost.
Dookie Duke as always.
And your man DJ Nyke, Kiss FM.
It was special thanks to our guest tonight, DJ Nyke, and we're gonna break format again. We're just gonna freestyle it. We're just gonna talk. So anybody who's from Casper has heard the name DJ Nyke. He's a household name in Casper. Whether your kid's still in high school, because he's gonna DJ their proms and all their dances. Whether if you're gonna get married, if you're a high profile wedding, he's probably gonna be the dude you get to DJ your wedding to listen into the radio.
If you listen to the radio, you'll hear this man covering everything from ski lifts to charity events, man.
Did for real, for real. Thanks, fellas.
Yeah.
It you know, it took a while, man, for me to get where I'm at. It's always funny. It's like you hear people talking about, oh, you can't use hip hop to get into the corporate world. It was like it was my name from being out in the hip hop scene locally, from rapping and stuff, that caught the ear of Donovan Short. You know what I mean? I met him probably 2002, 2003, around the time that Aquil was first starting to get big with doing music. And we did this rap battle at the mall, you know what I mean, for MTV, which is crazy. The MTV came to Casper, and we ended up opening for Mystical, and that was yeah, it was pretty dope. That was the first official rap concert, at least at the event center.
Of my generation too, that was our first like real major headliner that I remember in Casper was Mystical.
Yeah,
like I don't remember nothing big before that at all.
Yeah, he was definitely the first rapper. I know they had a couple of, you know, like Boyz II Men and all kind of country artists have been here, but he was the first rapper to ever headline the event center, so that was hella dope.
Nice. Where'd the name Nike come from? Is it the shoes, man?
Yes, I am glad you asked that. So first and foremost, for people who don't spell it right, it's Nyke, and that's so I don't get sued. But I was in the Marine Corps. I joined the Marines when I was 18, and the day after I graduated high school, because I had gotten in some trouble with some gangs. I grew up in Flint, Michigan, but I was born right here in Casper. And right after I graduated, my mom and my dad was like, yo, you need to get out of here for, you know, you messed up your whole life. So I'd already been in the delayed entry program. So I didn't even have a chance to be a kid. 8 hours after I graduated, I was on a flight to California for the Marine Corps.
Nice.
So they left a whole bunch of kids, you know, 18, 19. I think the oldest person there was 20. They left us in the Lansing airport for like 4 or 5 hours, like and it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, and surprisingly I was the only black dude from Michigan. You know what I mean? Everybody else was from Detroit or Saginaw. You know what I mean? I was the only person from Flint. So I had my headphones on, and everything I had on, because it was May 31st, it was hot as hell, said Nike on it. My shirt, my sweats, I had the armbands, the sweatband, my shoes, my socks, my left pant leg rolled up, all that. You know what I mean? Because I thought I was a thug back then, and when the plane showed up, it was like an hour early, and I didn't know any of the other guys. So the dude that they left in charge of us was like 20, and he was like, "Yo, Nike, the plane's coming," and we were the only people in the airport other than some other business people and the people that worked there. So I knew he was talking to me. Right. So it was like 13 of us, 12 of us ended up in the same platoon. So it was like a joke that, you know, they all started calling me Nike. And then after I got out into the Fleet Marine Corps, that's where I met the dude. I was in Okinawa, Japan, that taught me how to DJ, and Nike was already my nickname by then. I couldn't get rid of it no matter how hard I tried. So when I saw him scratching, I was like, yo, I want to learn how to do that. And I was freestyling for him. He's like, well, I want to learn how to do that. I was like, you teach me, I'll teach you. And after about 3 months, we never asked what each other's real names were. His name was DJ Yogi. If I can ever find him, I've been looking for him online. I can't find him, so I hope he's still alive. Yogi, if you ever see this, holla at your boy. But he put DJ Nyke on all the flyers, and after that, I was just like, oh, well.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
DJ Nyke.
What was the original Nyke spelling?
No, I spelled it different because I was in Japan. It was Nai-Ki, and that's like the hiragana, tatagana, kanji, one of the spells. I always get the ones mixed up.
Hiragana is original traditional Japanese, and katakana is the adapted.
Oh, you know that. All right, that's dope. Yeah, I know there's 3 types, but I don't know which ones were which. So I could actually speak when I was over there. like fluently because you just pick stuff up. But the longer I've been back in the States,
I think kanji is the Chinese adaptation.
Okay, like the squiggly lines like chicken scratch.
The super complex ones, because to graduate in Japan, I think I took Japanese in high school. Is the only reason I know this. Our teacher was from Japan, and you have to graduate. You needed to know like 1,800 Chinese characters.
Oh, okay. I got to
graduate over there.
I got a kanji tab, but okay. I don't know if it means what it
says.
It means.
There you go. That's that's not Japanese original at all. Yeah. That's Chinese. So anyway.
So yeah, I spelled it like that so people would say it right. You know what I mean?
So the people in Japan would say it right. Yeah, that's tight.
Because you know what I'm saying. Like we had our business cards in English on one side, but they were in Japanese on the other side, so we could get gigs out in town.
Nyke, okay, that's tight.
So
okay,
we were getting it. And then when I came back to the States, I changed it. But
so what's the scene like over in Japan then?
Oh man, hip hop there is crazy. Well, keep in mind it was '97 when I left, so it's been a long time. But like they were still dancing on cardboard, you know what I'm saying, like on the street. People would be breakdancing, yeah. That's dope. And it was crazy. And the weirdest thing was going to the clubs and hearing the music, and not that it was.
So the shit was fresh there still.
Yeah, and like they really like gravitated towards it, and like the real hip hop, you know what I'm saying, not so much the club stuff. Like they were out there, they were still tagging up walls where it was legal, you know what I'm saying, and they were still breakdancing, and them dudes they were just girls too. And the other thing was killer about that too, like you might see somebody in the club like half naked or all G'd up, but during the day when they were at their jobs, they might be in suits and ties, and nobody judged anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when I'm in my business, I'm about my business. If you see me out, then we do what we do.
Right.
And I just love that about the whole Japanese culture.
That's way cool. That's way cool. So Japanese, so we're sitting around here. Everybody knows it's listening to this podcast, watched in. Aquarius A Studios is covered in Star Wars stuff.
Yes.
So a lot of adaptation. We'll just jump into the Japanese stuff, and let's get over into some of your hobbies, collectibles stuff.
Oh man, I love comic books. Well, for one, I have a Star Wars tattoo. I don't know if anybody can see it, but I got the Millennium Falcon. I've been a Star Wars fan for years. But I've also been a big time comic book fan, so I have all those like Funko Pops. I've got about 200 of them joints.
Yeah. I was gonna say you have like almost all of them.
Yeah. Well, no, I got all the ones for the comic books and most of the Star Wars ones, but it's damn near impossible to have all of them.
Get the man.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The man.
Yeah. I've actually seen that one.
I think I tagged you in it.
Yeah. I actually ordered a Stan Lee one last night that doesn't even come out until April 15th.
Have you seen Captain Marvel? No spoiler alert. I seen it.
Yes.
Okay.
And honestly, I think for everybody that said it's really, really good, because it's not a bad movie, but if you know the history of the character, like they changed the origin and they changed some other stuff, which I won't tell for people that haven't seen it. But like if you're just going out to watch it and you don't know the source material, then yes, it's good. The acting was still gravy. The special effects were dope. The fight scenes were dope. But my feelings was hurt how much they changed the origin. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. So I never grew up Marvel. So I did over the last 6 months or so. I've been doing like tons and tons and tons of backstories.
Right.
And I knew that Captain Marvel, Marvel, however, has a couple different origins.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if they just hybrided it more or less and just made it fit into, because I know they couldn't make the Avengers movies the way that they wanted to, because they don't own the Silver Surfer and a lot of other things that they had to change. And
X-Men, Fantastic Four.
Well,
technically they do now, because they're with that big Century Fox thing where they bought them that $3 billion deal when they bought them last year.
Man. They're getting a lot of cool shit.
They said what's it? Kevin Feige, however you say his name.
Feige.
Yeah, he said they weren't going to change. They weren't going to change anything. They'll probably wait until after they're finished with Phase 5, Phase 6 to start. Because all the X-Men movies are already set in motion, so it'd be too much trouble trying to write them in together right now.
Right.
Well, because the Avengers, how when Thor or Hulk comes down and he goes into Doctor Strange's thing, originally that's the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they couldn't do that obviously because they don't own his rights and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that like crazy backs to YouTube is an amazing thing.
Well, Infinity War was so big that even if they did have access to all the characters, there's no way that they could have fit every single one of them involved.
No. Yeah. I think they did a good job of what they did. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
But just like Civil War, like the Fantastic Four played a big part in the Civil War scenario in the comics, and Spider-Man's arc was huge with Tony. Like they weren't even fucking with each other by the end of the whole thing, and there's just so much going on within the comic book universe, and these characters that you could span between millions of books and different timelines of books. But to fit it all in an hour and a half, 2 hours is impossible.
Facts.
Honestly, I'm excited. I think you just tagged me in the thing on Facebook of they're doing the Knights of the Old Republic animated series. Yeah,
no, I think it's going to be a live action, isn't it?
Word?
Yeah, live
Either
action
way,
series
like,
on Netflix.
So the thing that's always got me super happy about that, I named my daughter after Star Wars characters that I read in books and stuff like that. So in the Old Republic, there was like hundreds of thousands of Jedi fighting hundreds of thousands of Sith.
Yeah.
So I could just like in my head the whole time it's just like force powers upon force powers, or everybody's like choking everybody out.
Yeah.
Lightning blasts and shit like that to me was way. I mean, not to discredit any of like the bounty hunters or the stormtroopers or the traditional pew pew shoot 'em up motherfuckers. You know what I mean? My shits was always Darth Vader's been my hero since I was 7 years old. You can look around this room and almost everything is Darth Vader.
No,
I mean, there's a mix, but that's my guy. That's it. Just when I was my 7-year-old me watching him choking out dude from across the galaxy, like something's wrong with me at an early.
All right, now yo, I didn't know this, and because I've been going through watching them over again, and I found out where Finn's name came from, the FN
2817.
Yeah, so I went and I watched that 2187.
Yeah, 2187.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and it's like the craziest shit ever. It's like 9 minutes long.
Fan films are so sick, bro.
Yeah,
I love
fan films.
Well, this one it's like old. It's like from the 70s or 60s. George Lucas saw it.
Oh wow!
And this was the precursor to that THX movie.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah, this is it has nothing to do with Star Wars at all. But there's like a part in like the 4-minute mark in it where George Lucas got the whole idea from the Force, because the dude that made the movie, like it's just a whole bunch of chopped stuff that was left over from movies from the 50s and 60s that was on the cutting floor, and they edited it together with with sound and music, which for like the 50s and 60s was incredible. And George Lucas saw it, and like I said, that helped him to do that TH-1138, whatever it was, and
which turned into THX, which a lot of people don't know. George Lucas invented that, which was his sound and lights production company, which he sold to Disney later, which became Pixar. So without Star Wars, there would be no Pixar, there would be no Toy Story, all that.
Right.
So George Lucas was super instrumental in a lot of things. But at the same time, he stole a lot of stuff from samurai movies, from sci-fi films, like a lot of stuff that he stole like directly from sci-fi films. The Scrawling Scroll, a lot of stuff like that. But regardless.
Well, same way with Stan Lee, R.I.P. to the dead. You know what I'm saying? But like Stan Lee's idea for The Incredible Hulk came from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and he was originally gray, like for the first 20 years of the run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was a gray monster just roaming around, fucking shit up.
And then like Thor actually came from Norse mythology. There was like a lot of stuff that he took from other, from like shit from the 1700s. Story where, because there's no copyright on that type of shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, singing Jingle Bells. You can't get sued for singing Jingle Bells.
I mean, there's a lot of different deities he used like straight native deities. He used all the Norse deities, the Greek ones, all kinds of stuff.
Well, even like the Joker came from an old 1920s movie called The Laughing Man. And if you look at the guy's face in the artwork for the Joker, it's completely perfect, man.
Identical.
So I think a lot of these guys came, and that was their mediums back then. They had access to all those old movies. That's what they grew up watching and looking at. So they're like, let's just do it.
All right, now with that thought brings me to this. So we're there's a big generation gap between us. You know what I mean? But we all have our heroes and our favorites when it comes to hip hop. What do you think brought hip hop to where it is now? And I'm talking more to the commercial shit, because there will always be lyrical guys that are doing it.
Where
like what
in
time?
my mind, I can pinpoint it.
I'll
pinpoint it.
I could almost
okay,
pinpoint
mine,
it too.
50 Cent, 2003.
Okay,
so it and I stated this in the last one, the late 90s to the early 2000s was a funny transition for hip hop. Ludacris, Missy Elliott.
Right.
Eminem, and he wasn't traditional hip hop, even though he's every aspect of the word wordsmith. He was still different from the traditional 90s, early 90s hip hop. So
his subject matter.
50 Cent blew up, and A, he was not lyrical. B, he was ugly as shit. But he had the backing, he had the beats, and you could vibe to everything he's saying, even though it was simple. It was heartfelt. He had club bangers. So everybody accepted 50. Because right after 50, Soulja Boy, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, like there was zero lyrical ability.
All right. Now, I understand what you're saying with that, but I will separate 50 from that aspect because
I'm say that
are you talking about the auto-tune and all that?
No.
Well, I'm
saying when it got dumbed down and commercialized was at 50.
Okay.
I could feel that.
I'll give you that.
I feel these new cats are vibing off of the Lil Wayne's The Prom Queen, the album that's on, and Kanye's 808 and Heartbreak.
Okay.
I think that vibe carried on into the younger generation. More
I don't even know either of those.
It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that auto-tune shit.
I call it emo R&B. Is basically what it is to me.
That's a good way to put it. I'd say because emo hip hop because motherfuckers that sing would not claim that.
You know what I'm saying? That's how that. What's it? Lil Skies and all them cats.
Lil Peep, Lil Skies,
R.I.P. XXX, whatever his name is. Yeah, that dude. So,
but looking like
they was like singing, but it was hella auto-tune. Post Malone.
Yeah,
there you go. Emo R&B.
Emo R&B. It's not hip hop in the sense of the word like we would think of it.
Yeah.
And like Virus was saying when he was on here, what up, Virus? They belong, but not in hip hop.
Yeah, they need to have their at least a subgenre.
They need to have their own lane, just like everybody was ranking like My Chemical Romance and all those guys in with like punk rockers.
Right.
No, that wasn't punk. That was emo.
Yeah.
And I look at those guys the same way I look at these cats like Lil Peep and Post Malone. It's like it's an emotional vibe. It all has its own look to it.
Right.
You know, it's its own scene altogether.
It's the hip hop version of Suicide Boys. The new generation, I don't know what's wrong with you guys. You guys need to get it together.
Word.
I don't know.
But you know what? I think a lot of it has to do with, you know what I'm saying? When I grew up, hip hop was just starting to be a thing. Hip hop's maybe 4 or 5 years older than I am, and I'm 42. But I remember, because I grew up in the funk era, my mom and my dad were in a band that was big in Wyoming. They're called the Doctors of Funk. They traveled all around the tri-state area doing their thing. But, you know, it was funk, R&B, pop, you know what I'm saying? Those were big at the time.
When it was actually pop.
Yeah. And then now, you know what I'm saying, hip-hop was just starting to come up. But I remember people saying, you know, it's never going to last. It's a fad. 10, you know what I'm saying, 10 years went by, 20 years went by, 30 years went by. And now, you know, we're on this 40th, 50th year now. And it's starting to take, because one thing that was always at the heart was lyrics. Each year, the lyrical prowess, I think, got better. Because you started off with the hip, the hop, the hippie, that type of shit. And then it started getting to the point where people were using metaphors, similes, multi-syllable rhyme schemes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was dope watching that. And now it seems like it's starting to go away from that. And that, as a lyricist myself, that hurts my feelings.
I think it plateaued out at a certain point. So, I mean, with everything, you know, there's change with the generations. You know, you grew up, okay, just off the top of your head, what was most influential hip-hop, anything in your life?
Public Enemy at one point in time.
Boom, there you go. Public Enemy. Mine out the gate, Eminem. That's, what, 13-year difference?
Probably, at least. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
First time I ever heard hip-hop was Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style.
No, I'm talking about not the most influential out the gate.
Oh, the most definitely
like the first big influential rapper.
Now I'll say it was Public Enemy as a young kid, because I was at the time I was living in Missouri, and Missouri was still segregated. You know what I mean? So all the blacks lived on one side of the tracks and all the whites lived on the other side, which was fucking insane if you think, you know, this was 1980.
And they were straight up soldiers in that front line of hip hop pushing in.
Yeah, that was, you know, the black fist in the air, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't all the bling. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was crazy. Yeah. It was big. Like, I remember having a Batman chain. It wasn't even a chain. It was like vinyl, you know what I'm saying? And that was what was big back then.
That shit's tight. That shit was dope back then.
Yeah. But I think after I started hitting, like, my teens, it was Wu-Tang for me. Like, I got 2 Wu-Tang tattoos now, you know what I mean? And that was crazy because I grew up, for one, watching those Kung Fu movies that all of their sound effects came from.
I just watched the 36 Chambers or whatever's on Netflix.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to catch that.
Oh man, yeah, definitely. You gotta watch it. You know what I mean?
I barely just watch old school Kung Fu movies. I mean, dude, if you're looking for Crouching Tiger, no. But if you appreciate it for what it is, it's amazing. It really is.
It blew my mind when the RZA made Man with Iron Fists. I love that. Right. Movie. I don't care what anybody says how cheesy it is.
It was dope, but it was supposed to be. It was what it was supposed to be. It was gravy.
That's tight.
I love that.
Way dope.
But yeah, I love.
Well,
the movie, you know
Tarantino had a lot of his hands in that with the RZA, so that's where you get the look from.
All right, Nyke. So before we was talking about, you said you've seen our last podcast where we were talking about our goats and
yes.
stuff. You know, everybody's had an opinion so far, but we got you right here, and you've been in the scene like we were just talking about for pretty much since. Okay. So I mean, just off top, you just want to give us a quick rundown of what you thought of our list and your own.
As far as I know, everybody's list is gonna be different. You know what I'm saying? And it was unique to hear each one of you three guys talk about that. You know what I mean? Because I felt what everybody was saying, but as far not your list, but what you were saying about how you chose your goats, I gotta agree with you on that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the heart of hip hop for me, if lyrical prowess has got to be in there. Like I love Big and I love Pac, and I think they were both very influential. But I would not put neither one of them on my top 5. Oh wow! At least not for lyrics.
Oh man, you just blew up our comment section.
So how are you gonna go for GOAT list? Would they rank on your GOAT list, or your favorite?
They would be on my top 10. They would definitely be in my top 10, but they're not my top 5. Man, my top 5, there's not really an order because, well, for one of them's dead. It's Big L. He's our, you know what I'm saying? Because Big L is the reason Jay-Z is what he is. He's the reason Cameron, you know what I'm saying? He built the careers of so many other people. He just died too quick, you know what I'm saying? He was murdered. So he's probably my number 1. But it's Nas, M, and Jay, and I can't put either one of them above each other, you know what I'm saying?
Because
MJ or Nas, you know what I'm saying?
So they're tied for like 2nd or 3rd?
Yeah. And then, surprisingly, to a lot of people, my 5th spot goes to Cassidy. You know what I mean?
That's not too surprising with your list, honestly.
Cassidy's
really
way dope.
Yo, Cassidy is like, he's honestly untouchable in the freestyle game, in the battle scene. Like,
he's never, like, 5,000 and, it's crazy.
Could have done without that video with R. Kelly dressed like a pink Ninja Turtle, though. Like,
there was a lot of those in the 90s, though, man. You go back, there's a lot of those.
Somebody should have just stopped Kells at the door and be like, what? Take the mask off, bro.
that was his thing, though.
Cassidy's dope, though. Hell yeah.
It was. Nelly had the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Yep. 50 had the little bra strap beaters.
Yeah. Or the bulletproof vest going on.
Yep. No, everybody's doing that.
Everybody wearing tall tees. Shirts down to their knees.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, since we're talking about that, you remember the tall tee fad.
Oh, I do.
Okay, I do. So, hip-hop in this town has grown over the years. So with that being said, I remember one of my first shows, and it wasn't like a headliner concert or nothing. It was just a show you guys did. You guys got a spot up at the event center in one of those back rooms.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and Shamise, aka Swagger Princess.
Was that with the No Gooders?
Yeah.
No, this is way
prior to bro. That's what I'm talking about. Like the beginning of all this.
Wow.
So, and you guys, I think you and her just came out and just did like a dance thing to the Soulja Boy thing.
Yeah. It's funny because we, at the time, you know what I'm saying, the internet was already out and it was what it was. But, Casper was so far behind on everything. And I think radio had a lot to do with it.
I think MySpace just started popping.
So, you know what I mean? Like, people had heard of it, but they didn't know how to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And YouTube wasn't as big, so it wasn't like everybody could just go to YouTube and look it up. So we found out how to do the dance. Like, Soulja Boy, I need a check. Because when your first album dropped, we had that thing popping. And as soon as we did that, then they started playing it at Sidelines. You know what I mean? Like, we introduced Casper to Soulja Boy. You know
Honestly,
what I mean?
that was the first time I remember it.
Soulja Boy, you want some of that game system money.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll take that. You know what I mean? You don't have to sign me, but I take that too. But yeah, it was crazy just the different things that I've had the chance to bring to a forefront. Because I've seen other motherfuckers out throughout the state claim, you know what I'm saying, that they were the first, and I wasn't the first. I remember when I moved into town, Cozy was the first person that I knew that was popping.
Cozy was the first person I remember. It's
Casper, the city that I always run back. That was getting played on everybody's shit. That's when we used to cut our own CDs.
Dog, I have no idea how I even ended up with that CD.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
But yeah, it was popping. So I had to come and, find my own lane, you know what I mean, when I came in. And then Virus, he was called Shaggy back then.
Shaggy,
they had their own thing going.
But this was prior to all that even. So I remember, the way I remember it was that show, but there wasn't no foundation for any like groups or nothing. Cozy was a thing, and he was, I don't even remember Lucchese, aka Task One, and them really, really doing it yet. Because I remember the thing I remember goes Cozy, then you guys did that show, and you guys didn't really have nothing yet. But SMK and then PCP, which is Lucchese, aka Task One,
Play Cousin Productions,
DJ Moneybags, all them. And then you guys started SMK, which is like, man, you guys was like the Wu-Tang and Casper. It was a great movie.
Yeah, man, it was funny because we didn't really know each other. You know what I'm saying? Like we each had our own little groups. I don't want to call it a fan base, but we had like our own little groups that we spit to, and then it was just like we'd all heard of each other.
It was all cypher at party things. So everybody knew each other as rappers through, oh, my homie could rap, oh, my homie could rap. That's all it was, because there wasn't really a scene at all.
And it was somebody was like, yo, man, we all need to rock together. And it was just like kind of reminds me of it was a local version of Slaughterhouse. You know what I mean? Because
for SMK?
Yeah, because Kilo, and he was from Denver.
Shout out to Kilo, that's my dog.
He's in Seattle right now, or I knew he's in that Washington area.
Somewhere in there.
And he was like, yo, we should all do a track together. And it was just like, you know what I'm saying, we did a couple of songs, and it was like, yo, we should form up like Voltron, you know what I'm saying? We each have our own different fan bases, and SMK was a big move.
So if anybody doesn't know, SMK, as I remember, and correct me, I'm going to try to get the list. You, Doc Seuss, Yogi Brown, LB, KC, Velo, did I say Kilo?
Nope.
Okay, Kilo.
And Kilo actually was the foundation. He was the one that started.
That's my dog. It's fucking Baby Tupac, his voice.
Right, yeah.
So, man, did I miss anybody?
Aquil. He was actually part of it.
Okay, I never seen him rock a show with you guys, but
he did. He was. Him and Lil Bro were the youngest ones at the time, and a lot of people don't know, Aquil can spit. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got bars. He's known now for being a singer because of everything that blew up with that TV show he was on, The Voice. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But he's got bars. So you know what I mean? Like I still have, and there's probably a bunch of people that still have them old CDs. You know what I mean? Where with all of us, it was just crazy. Like the best show that I've ever done in town, we did one at the fairgrounds,
industrial grounds.
Yeah,
yep.
And that was probably, as far as a hip hop moment for me as a local artist, that was probably my best thing, because I remember being on the stage and everyone out knew our lyrics, and it was great to be able to stop and aim the mic, and you know what I'm saying. People
shout out to my dog Casey Dre. At that concert, so there was beef, his crew and my crew. At that point, me and him came together, and there was a picture of it at one point. He's on stage rapping with the mic, and I'm in the crowd, and like he reached out to me, we shook hands like homies, and I've been cool with him ever since. And shout out to Dre again. Word. That's my dog. We need to get you an LB on one of these rappers' glides, bro. I know you just had a baby. Congrats. But that's how I remember all that shit starting. Yeah. So from SMK. And I remember I just got out of jail when you guys did that show. Mm-hmm. So that's why I got out of jail, and it was like word on the street, this fool, KC this, blah, blah, blah. And so me and him never really had a direct confrontation until that show. Right. And we chopped it up a little bit, and we was cool. And then he was on stage, and that's been my dog ever since. So now jump ahead. So I remember SMK, and then I went to prison. So I'm going to give you my chronology of this. And I know it was different because you guys were out. Right. And I said it on the last show, I got out, and it was 5 years later. And so SMK, I get out, and then it was the No Gooders and Prescription. So Shaggy, a.k.a. Virus, and then wasn't anything when I went to prison. I remember we was talking about that when he was here. Yep. He just had his turntables set up in his room in the upstairs, and Fade used to just go spit in the booth, which was literally just a microphone, not recording anything at all. Hooked up to Shaggy's turntables, and that's all they was doing. So I got out 5 years later. Prescription was doing out-of-town shows. Right. I'm not sure if they were doing out-of-state, but I know they're for sure doing them in all the towns of Wyoming. No Gooders was popping. I remember I got out, I was at CAC. I seen Seuss post something, and y'all was doing a show at Sanford's. Mm-hmm. So that to, let me think, No Gooders, and then Prescription turned into Rhyme Sick. Yeah. Okay, so Rhyme Sick became a thing, and then you guys became APN. You became APN.
Yeah. There was, because No Gooders, we were like, most of our music was like fun shit, like party dance type shit.
You want to let people know who's in No Gooders?
No Gooders was myself, DJ White Chalk, my cousin Swagger Princess V, and my man Joe Rogie, aka J Dollar.
J Dollar,
you know what I mean? And we had actually been a group without Swagger for like probably about 6 months. And we had her singing on a couple of hooks, and Chalk was like, yeah, we might as well have her be a part of the crew. She was like, all right, bet. And I remember Rogie said, we need to do a remix for this song called Black and Yellow, and I fucking hated that song. You know what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect to Wiz, because I think he's mad tight. I just didn't like that song, and I think it was more the beat. I just did not like that beat at all.
I was in the joint when that came out,
and it was still, and I wasn't even working at Kiss at this point in time. This was probably about a year before I started working at Kiss, and he said, well, we should do a remix and call it Brown and Yellow. And I was like, yo, that is brilliant. You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't like the song, that is a brilliant idea. Catch that, you know what I'm saying, and do it while it's still hot. So we did it. We dropped it off, you know what I'm saying, threw it on YouTube. And Donovan Short, my boss now at Kiss FM, shout out to him, he heard it and was like, yo, I need a copy of this so I can put it on air. So we went from being, just doing local shows here and there, a couple in Cheyenne, a couple in Riverton, to once he played it on the radio, and then other radio stations throughout the state started like there was people that knew the song who didn't know what any of us looked like because we didn't have a music video for it. You know what I mean? Right. And I'll never forget the college in Laramie was playing it daily, like almost hourly on their radio station. So we were getting these phone calls like, "Yo, you guys need to come down here and do a show." And it was just like that. We went from being local Casper rappers to being statewide, almost household names. So big ups to Donovan for making that happen. You know what I mean? Cool. And then from that point on, we was a thing.
Yeah, I actually heard about that song when I was in CWCC, and we were spitting freestyles outside or whatever. Right. And they were like, "Have you heard of Nyke and the No Gooders?" I was like, "No." And then I was coming up with the remix called Green and Purple. Just in my head, talk about blowing trees. Right. And somebody's like, "You need to listen to Brown and Yellow. It's a Wyoming song. You need to link up with this guy, and this guy when you get out." And then shortly after I got out, I started doing tracks on YouTube, and I started talking to Nyke. It was crazy, and I just barely started seeing No Good videos pop up on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, back then we were standing and still. All we did was go to work, you know what I'm saying, and we get off of work and we'd be in the booth writing it was every night type of thing. You know what I mean?
So what year was this about? 2010, 2011.
Yeah, about that.
Okay.
That's way dope.
Okay. And then right after that, that's when I got the call and I started working at the station. And it was, it's been history since then. But as you were saying, it was APM. That was my crew with Attic, Eric Hanston. Attic, shout out to my boy.
He recorded my first album. Shout out Attic.
Yeah. And Philly Flames. And that was, we were doing music, but we were doing like a little bit stuff that was a little bit more hardcore, more street than what the No Gooders was doing. Like, so we were doing more club, party type music. And like we were doing hardcore street anthem type, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Knock a motherfucker out in the club type stuff, you know what I mean? So it was funny being in two different groups that had two completely different vibes, you know what I mean, at the same time. And we did what we did.
All right. Nice. So APN turned to, are you guys still APN now?
Yeah, but it's more like TSG, you know what I'm saying?
TSG.
Yeah,
okay, so
we picked up more people. So yeah, it's Top
okay.
Shelf Gang. We picked up my man Kevin from North Carolina, and he's crazy with his.
Buckshot Kev.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, okay, yeah. I know who Buckshot is. Yeah.
Okay, Top Shelf Gang. So all that, and so you've seen your share of conflict through the years. I know back in the day, I think it started. You got, I don't know if was it Prescription or the Syndicate that had.
It was.
I know it wasn't like a personal beef because everybody knows each other, but some kind of rap thing.
It was what had happened was, and this was part of that. I had done a show with them, and I was just DJing. I wasn't even rapping at the show, and some shit went crazy with money. You know what I mean? And it wasn't the fact that nobody got paid, but it was like wasn't getting paid in the time frame. You know what I mean? And then entourages started getting into it because it wasn't anything that I said. I knew I was gonna get paid. I knew where people lived. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't worried about it. But somebody in my crew caught wind and got loud, and it turned into this, something that it wasn't. And that's most of the time what happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people, especially back in that day too.
And then there was other times where other people had beef. Like I remember Attic was beefing with somebody in Rhymesick over some shows. Like it always comes down to like egos.
So that's what the point I wanted to get to. The later Rhymesick TSG beef. Yeah. Like what nobody even, I was, bro, and it sounds almost embarrassing to sound, but like with the MGK and Eminem one, bro,
right.
That was like the Casper version of that.
Yeah.
TSG and the Rhymesick one. So like can you give us a backstory into that?
Florida Boy Coat, you know what I'm saying? He was in TSG with us. Him and Attic, like they worked together the most because they had the most free time, you know what I'm saying? Like their schedules, you know, messed with each other, so meshed. So they used to record together all the time. And they had an issue with a couple of people from Rhymesick. Now, especially since I've been at the radio station and the fact that I'm older, I try, you know what I'm saying, there's got to be a serious reason for me to be beefing with somebody. You know what I mean? Little words like, I'll call somebody and be like, hey, yo, what's going on, man? Like, for real. There's no point
it's
for
like
it.
I know you.
Yeah, plus, and there's enough lime for everybody to shine. You know what I mean? So, words were, and these are social media words. This is social media, I swear. So, you know, people were talking shit to each other on social media, and next thing you know, Attic was like, yo, I want to put out this track, and Coke was just going, hard on everybody in Rhymesick, except for Seuss, because Seuss has always been my boy, you know what I'm saying? He's like my little brother. And they put the track out. Now, the beat went hard as nails. You know what I'm saying? And I had already written my verse. So even like this shit happens in the real world with hip hoppers. You know what I'm saying? You record something and then somebody will record a verse and you don't know about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Next thing you know, it's a beef track.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Something that was supposed to be a party track. And it really made me sound bad because I said I rode with my boy, which I did. You know what I'm saying? You got to ride with your friends, whether they're right or wrong sometimes. You're not being you're not being true blue, you know? But, so then I'm starting to get phone calls from them. I'm like, look, man, I didn't say nothing. I don't know what y'all problem is, but y'all need to freaking fix that. You know what I mean? Whatever, what have you. And then it ended up getting squashed. I know there's still certain people that don't get like along, like they don't necessarily hang out, but there's still not like, there's any beef anymore. Like, yo, when I see you, I'm gonna smash you on sight type.
There's been a couple things that happened behind that I actually physically seen with my own eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I seen somebody get the shit slapped out of them at Butcher's. Dog piss slapped out of him. I heard that person got a diss track on a certain somebody too.
Ooh.
So, no names out there, but if anybody knows this person, they might know what I'm talking about.
I want to hear this diss track.
You ever done any diss tracks on anybody?
Yeah.
Outside of that, because you said you didn't directly write that at them.
No. Actually, yeah. I got in there was a couple of, SMK had beefs back in the day, and I think it was because, like, we were, at the time.
I remember.
Goodfellas.
Okay, I remember that.
And the funny shit was, like, you know, I moved here when I was 25. You know what I'm saying? I was born here, but I left here when I was 5. So I was gone for 20 years. And I remember these Goodfella dudes had hit me and Seuss up to do a show with us. And we was like, yeah, you know, you guys are new in the town, bet. And then, like, they never hit us back. I don't know if their cell phone. I heard, you know, money was different when you're younger, you know what I'm saying? And cell phones were more expensive. So cell phone numbers changed, whatever, what have you. And they didn't end up showing up at a show. And then their feelings got hurt because one of them was working at Taco Bell on the west side. And he was giving people, you know, the Goodfellas CD, like, while he was handing them out that Taco Bell. Well, he just happened to do that to some of our people that was down with SMK. He was like, man, we don't want that shit. Screamed out SMK and drove off. So then, of course, he got mad and recorded this diss track. And this is when MySpace was popping. And not SoundCloud, but whatever was before SoundCloud, you know what I'm saying? There are all kind of places you could put music online. So they put this diss track out. And it was kind of funny. I laughed at it. Because they got a couple little jabs in. But Seuss heard it and got mad. They called him, like, Abercrombie and Finch.
Oh, I heard that.
And he got heated. So he showed up at my house. And I was sick. I had the flu at the time. And he was like, yo, you got to hear this. So I heard it and I giggled. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, that was funny. That was cute. He was like, yo, man, we gotta do his track to come back right now. And this is like 2004, 2005, 6 maybe. So
nobody was even looking for an immediate
response. Yeah, you know what I mean? But so we were recording with Super Manning at the time. So we got up, went over to his house, and actually recorded a diss track and put it out. And then I got in trouble for driving, so I was doing weekends at the time. Seuss was doing weekends for something else. You know what I mean? We all got in some little law shit. But then they came out with another one. Well, by this time I was out, and Seuss was still locked up. Kilo was locked up for something, and so was Yogi, you know what I mean? So I was the only one at SMK, the core 4 members, you know what I'm saying? There was like 12 of us, but the core 4 members that was out. So I did a diss track, and they got mad, like real mad, because I went hard on that one. I was like, you know what I'm saying? All right, you guys are talking like they're going to whip our ass. Like the first one was just a lyrical, you know, throwing shots, but when you said you're literally going to put hands on me, that's when, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I'll fuck you up with it, you know what I mean? So I went at them, and so they showed up. This was probably like a month later, so everybody was out at the time, and they showed up over at Yogi's house, his apartment. I'll never forget it, and they got mashed. You know what I'm saying? And then that was the end of beef. You know what I mean? But after that, I don't think I really lyrically beefed with anybody on wax until that Cadillac Coupe dude. So the Cadillac Coupe joint, I don't even know why he was mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like at that point in time,
Did he put out one on you first?
Yeah. Now, from what I heard from his camp, you know what I'm saying, that they said something about like I was being cocky because I had just done a show for the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This was right prior to working at the station too, and I was working at Verizon. I'll never forget it. Donovan called me and was like, "Yo, the game's coming to the Casper Event Center. We're doing a contest to see whoever wins the contest gets an opening spot." You know what I mean? And it was like a tie between me and Virus, so both of us got a chance to, you know what I'm saying, to rock the stage for that. So, you know, I put. This was the beginning of No Gooders, so I put them up there with Rogi was still on probation, so he couldn't come. But I put Chalk on stage with me, Seuss, you know what I'm saying? We did some old SMK stuff, and I did a couple of original joints, solo joints, and then they did theirs. And from what I heard, like he had tried to get in touch with me, and I didn't respond fast enough. And it wasn't like he called me. Like, I'm easy to find. But he tried to hit me up on social media, and I probably didn't see it, you know what I mean? So he got mad, put out this diss track, which was garbage, and I put one. Like, I started in battle rap. Like, that when I started spitting, before I started writing songs, I started doing battles. Matter of fact, I used to do the same battles that M was in the Detroit area, you know what I'm saying? He was a little bit older than me, but, like, I knew M before he was signed. Like, I remember when he used to sound like Nas, you know what I mean? So when he signed with the... He did sound like Infinite sound like Nas. Yeah. So he's actually 2 years and 2 days older than me exactly. You know what I'm saying? We went to the same high school for a minute because he lived in Flint. Like, there's a part in 8 Mile where, you know, they were cracking jokes at like his clique, and they was like, "Man, you don't even live in you don't even live in the 313. You live in 810." You know what I mean? That's Flint. So. So I started in the battle, you know what I mean, beating on the freaking, not even with music, we do that shit in the school lunchrooms, beating on tables and stuff like that, and then, you know, we once we had a place to go, we'd go to the bars, you know, in the clubs and do, you know, the battle. So anytime somebody really wanted to come at me like that, I'm all about that, you know what I'm saying? Right. Then, that's the heart for me.
You made a video for the Cadillac Coupe one,
Sure did, yeah.
Okay, so so I'm chilling at my homie Doughboy's house, and when I got to the point where maybe it was like maybe a year and a half in where I wanted to do a music video. And so keep in mind, my music career is only about 3 years. Like, I used to spit in ciphers with everybody back in the day, but I wasn't like a rapper. I didn't never consider myself like that. Like, Fade was my best friend growing up. So I grew up around, he was my homie growing up. Right. You know what I mean? Like, everybody had their little crews. Yep. He was me and him rapped together. You know what I mean? Like, I was Mofo B and he was Fade and we was FM radio. Right. Like, nobody besides me and him and a couple other people on the planet know this. Right. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm at my homie Doughboy's house and he's watching your video. And so I think fast forward to I meet Addict and you're there, and I asked you, I think you told me you did it on a phone.
Yeah.
The music video.
Yeah, we did.
Who edited it?
Chalk actually edited it.
Okay, so so that's how I got in touch with him, is I asked you who edited your video. And so what I did is I went and got a camera and I filmed all my own stuff for my own music video, Aquarius 8. And I hit up Chalk and he edited it. That's where I met Twitch. It was in the all exact same time frame.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that was like the foundation of me jumping into the hip hop scene. I've outsourced you plenty of times. Word. You know, I would drop an album. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm at work. Okay, bro, I'm gonna go throw a CD on your seat. You know what I mean? Let me know what you think. I've never even done a track with Nyke, but I value his opinion in the music scene. I really do, because like we've just gone over, he's been there since before there was a music scene in Casper. So where better to go than to the first person to do this or this or this or that I remember or that I seen.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So as far as I remember, it went you guys, and then PCP was doing their thing, and then Baby J had a studio. Yep. Who did SMK?
Actually, we did most of the SMK stuff. We started off doing it with Super Manning. Okay. But once, you know, we started getting tight, because Yogi was the one that got us in with Baby J, and then him and Aquil started getting real close, and Seuss and them too. And for like, we even put Molly on. I don't know if you remember Molly.
I do.
Molly.
Yeah, I do.
Matter of fact, her dad, we had to get permission, because I think I was probably 30 at the time, even though I had a baby face for like forever. And her dad was worried about her being in the studio with a bunch of guys, even the ones that were her age, because her and like Seuss and Yogi, all of them were all the age. And he was like, well, I was like, well, yo, let me talk to him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting here having a sit down at their house with her dad. You know what I mean? And it was funny when the first time she had shown up before he told her he couldn't come back. Like when Seuss brought her over, I was like, oh man, you just trying to beat. Cause she was cute, you know what I'm saying? This cute little blonde chick. Right. And I was like, and so I'd never heard her sing before. And it was a song we did, I can't even remember what it's called, but it was another Wyoming joint. And it was her and Aquil were singing on it. And you know, his studio room was soundproof pretty much, so I couldn't hear her sing. You know what I mean? So after he recorded her, Baby J was like, "Yo, check this out," and I was like, "Holy shit, this little white girl's got pipes. That was dope." You know what I mean? So I was like, and I apologized to her. I was like, "Yo, you didn't look like what came out of you." Right. So props. But yeah, I literally had to talk to her father in order for her to come to the studio. And if I wasn't there, he wouldn't let her be there at first. You know
what I'm saying? So I mean, you've worked with artists that I haven't worked. So who are some people that have stood out to you in not only the Casper but the Wyoming scene over the years?
Oh man,
that have stood out to you.
Well, yeah. As far as bars, whenever it comes to bars, I always say Seuss and Jay Dalla are probably two dudes, because I'm lyrics over everything. You know what I'm saying? And I like that about you too, as far as your lyrical content. But I mean, there's so many different forms of hip hop. Those two, as far as just bar for bar, that I think could actually battle it out with people that are like, you know, go lyrical for lyric against motherfuckers, I would definitely say him too, you know.
What about Yogi B?
Yogi's my man. He got better, you know what I'm saying? Like when we first started SMK, you know what I mean, we each had our own different thing. Like Kilo sounded like Pac, you know what I mean? Casey and Lil Bro, they brought that Midwest flow with them, you know what I mean? And then I had that New York flow with me. And then Seuss was kind of like him. Like, the one thing I'll say about Seuss, I think he has the potential to blow up bigger than anybody else. And partially it's because he's white, but it's because he grew up different than most people that grew up street. You know what I'm saying? So his rhymes aren't the same type of, like, he rhymes about different stuff most of the time than, you know what I'm saying, what we talk about. You know what I mean? It's like, I never would have thought to flip words that way because I didn't grow up like that. Right. You know what I mean? And the same with Rogi, you know what I mean? Because of his ethnic background, he has said some shit sometimes where I was like, yo, all right.
Dog, he shouted out my grandpa, Chief Washington.
Right?
Song.
Yeah, he did.
You guys did a little description. I seen that video and I was like, bro, Chief, and I had to tell him that. He's like, oh yeah, I was blah blah blah, and I thought that would be a tight bar, but that's my grandpa's. So
okay,
I got my family tree straight 5 generations descendant, bro.
That's ill. I like that. See, I've got Native in my family, but we're all Cherokee, so you know what I mean. So that's dope. I didn't know that. That's hella dope.
You got anything?
I'm just glad to be here on these episodes like this with you and Virus, and I'll say it all the time. I came in as an outsider from Nebraska. And we don't really have a scene there, but I was like one of the very few cats there that was getting it. And then I came here, got in my trouble, got out, linked up with Cody and Blueprint and Osh and all these guys. And I still had no idea what was going on. I heard about the beef between you guys and Rhyme Sick. Right. I didn't know what was going on, and then all that stuff was going on with Biscuit and Static. I don't know any of these guys, right?
Right.
And so sitting here listening to the history of it all, it just sounds a lot deeper than what I could have imagined, and hearing it from a guy that's been in it since there wasn't even a scene here.
Right. And this is one thing I will tell everybody, and this is like to everybody that's involved or wants to be involved with the music scene, and not just hip hop, this is music anywhere. I have prided myself in making sure that if somebody's doing some music locally, and this means statewide, like if somebody drops a new album, somebody drops a music video, if I can put it out on Kiss FM, or you know what I'm saying, and Town Square as a whole, you know what I mean, for people to get into. Like there's a kid named Ian Munzik that does country music. He's from but he's in Tennessee right now trying to get a deal, but he puts a video out every single month, and most of the time it's like pop or R&B, but he puts a country swang on it, you know what I mean?
That's way dope.
So I put his videos out. He hit me up on Instagram today to personally thank me. He was like, yo, my Wyoming people tell me you're doing that, you know what I mean? It's like nobody's ever done that for me for no reason. They wanted, publicity,
some kind of
publishing on money, you know what I mean? So I've always tried to put people on, you know what I mean? I've told people, this is no cost. This is like, I know there wasn't a place, like I had this, like in the street, I was burning CDs before you could just put shit on the internet and giving people discs, you know what I'm saying? Go out and burn, buy 100, and we got 4 people with laptops burners, you know what I mean? So anything I can do to help, you know what I'm saying, push somebody's career forward, to help them get their music out there, I'm gonna do it.
Yo,
You know what
I
mean?
will personally attest to that. This man, I mean, granted, the content of my song, he didn't put the whole song on there, but he gave me radio time with my song where people are, calling me forever. My dad was so proud. He thought I was like already signed in like Dr. Dre or something. You know what I mean? So shout out to Nyke. Like I said, he really has. He shared the Blueprint Cypher. He shared my video on separate occasions. You know what I mean? So it wasn't all at once. There were multiple times that he's promoted Wyoming artists. I know you constantly promote all the stuff that Seuss does.
Same with Rhymes thing. Even when there was the beef was going on, man. I remember, and I got to give it up to not Biscuit. What's the other one? Static. I got to give it up to Static that he actually took the time to call me. You know what I mean? Because that could have gotten a lot uglier. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what? But he took the time. You know what I'm saying? And called me. I was like, hey man, this is what it was. This is what it was. And I still, put his music out. His brother even did a little freestyle diss track on me. Scuba. You know what I'm saying? It was dope too. I never even bothered to answer.
Hey, you responded back pretty quick too.
Yeah, he did, and you got me. I will say you got me. You're one of the few people that can say they got me, and it was just because I never responded. But you know what I mean? But for real, you know what I'm saying? It's like just put all the BS to the side. If you're doing things, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna try my best to put other people on. You know what I mean?
That's what we're about constantly. We'll say it all the time. It's like we're here to help you guys shine.
Straight up. Shout out Pocketbook Prophet. He just hit me up. I don't know if you've seen it. He just put out.
Yeah.
He's like in the barbershop in front of the mic.
Yeah.
My boys
he
Drop
just
Bandito.
messaged me. Yeah, he
Presidential.
Me too.
Yeah, presidential. Shout out to Cheyenne cats. If you're in Cheyenne or anywhere in Wyoming or Colorado or any of the surrounding states, I like to call it regional. I don't like the word local.
Yeah.
So if you're in the regional area, the mountain states, anywhere, and you fuck with us, Noise
Get
from
at us.
Nowhere, Blueprint,
Get at us.
Era 21, Kiss FM, APN, any of those crews, you watch our podcast, let us know. You know what I mean? We're always out here. We're trying to get a scene going because we deserve it. There's unlimited talent out here that there's no reason why we shouldn't be getting shine.
And I was so amazed, like coming to Wyoming from a place where guys are talking, like just freestyling and ciphers and houses. Like, I'm a rapper, to coming here and these guys are actually doing it and able to say like, yo, I'm a rapper, here's my videos, here's all the shows I've done, actually doing things. And like it just blew my mind how much potential and talent there was in just this small area.
See here, there you go, people from Wyoming. I mean, that's the outside perspective.
Yeah,
we're out here doing
blown.
Things. We're out here doing. Dookie meets me, and my producer records his album, and he's like, Osh opened for Project Pat and Twisted and everybody else that's came to Casper for the last 2 years. And to me, I'm like, damn, I need to press some more CDs. Who's gonna bump my shit? Damn, how do I get my shit on iTunes?
Who's pressing your CDs,
bro? At first, I was burning myself, and then this little dragonfly popped up in my ear talking about he could press and print CDs.
I pressed so many CDs, my hands hurt, man.
I broke Duke's shit.
Cutting you broke my computer. You broke one of my printers. I was like in mid production.
Hey, I've killed mad studios. I've made fucking engineers quit. You guys, I'm a perfectionist.
Oh, Velo's done the same thing. Swagger Princess, ask anybody that's ever recorded in Casper, she's fucked up something there. We still love you, I love you, cousin. Don't hurt me, But for real,
that's too funny. But yeah, I was in mid production of one of his CDs, and my printer busted. My printer broke down, and I was having to cut the inserts out by hand. With
having to do that
with those choppers.
I remember having to do that
with the standard discs, and I was shrink wrap and all that stuff. And then the second time, it was my computer. So thanks, Osh.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Hey. Don't thank me, thank Duke, all the masses, those hundreds of CDs. We ain't done thousands, but Blueprints, hundreds of CDs out there in the world.
That's why I wore that O shirt, you know what I'm saying, right before we did the DJ battle.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I made sure people could see that,
Oh shit. We're always out here promoting. So
always.
Any regional artists, get at us. Do you want to jump in any more other regional people you know?
Shout out to Two Rhyme Sick, you know what I'm saying? They're still doing it big. I see them doing those shows, traveling. My man
Shout
Virus.
out to my dog Messin. You need to fix that hoodie design so I could get me one of them.
Right. And Yo, you know what I'm saying? Young kid
dope.
from the Cheyenne
I haven't
area.
had a chance to link with him yet. I'm
He's
still waiting for that one.
He's doing his thing.
way dope.
He's had some controversial music, you know what I'm saying?
I don't really mess with all of his music, but he's
got skills. Matter of fact, we all went to to this hip hop battle in New York City. You know what I'm saying?
I remember that backpack site.
Yeah, Team Backpack.
Team Backpack.
Team Backpack.
Yes,
Seuss went, YO went, and there was another guy
You
from
and Attic.
Me, Attic, and Philly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was crazy. We got I used to live in New York, so I knew a lot, and it was in Brooklyn, so that's where I lived at. So I knew a lot of people when we were out there, but it was funny. You know what I'm saying? We were running around wearing Wyoming gear, so everybody knew. There was like, yo, there's 5 dudes here from Wyoming, and you guys all know each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was crazy, and you know what I'm saying? We all when it came time for us to be on stage, and them shits was on YouTube. Team Backpack, it was like 3 years ago. Check them out.
Yeah, Team Backpack.
That was when I was just breaking in the scene. I was recording my first album with Addict when you guys.
But yeah, it was so dope to actually see, you know what I'm saying, 5 guys from Wyoming out there doing it. And the funny shit was I was the only black guy. But, you know what I mean, it was still gangster, you know what I mean? So shout out to YO. Also, my man, off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. Jeez, he's going to kill me. Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario's another brother. He's from down south. He's in the Cheyenne area. Matter of fact, he did one of those funeral Fridays. Dr. Mario, props to holler at him, man. Holler at him.
Hit me up. Stay tuned. I'm producing a group of ciphers coming out. They're called the Oil City Ciphers. I got the first 4 lined out. Duke Wallace is on one. So our first one we're going to put out, it's got me, Duke Wallace, the Mighty Q, and Rick Bliss.
Q.
Just to let you guys know who's on that. You guys are not prepared for this.
It's
but
fire.
We've got other ones with Frazalid Epil just dropped me his verse today.
That's my guy too.
Man,
Riverton,
these dudes are sick, dog. Like
not only that, Ocean I just shot a video today for Midwest Renegade off the Return to Flat World EP, so be checking that out. We shot it.
That's our intro song. If you heard our intro to our show, we just shot the video for that today. That'll be coming out soon.
I want to give another shout out. We've been talking about regional cats, and I've actually been talking to my dude Dynamic from the UK. He does the regional scene over there. So not only are we doing people here, we're working with people overseas. Osh has a song.
I got a track with Dynamic.
He's actually going to be dropping that here soon onto it.
You heard it right here first.
So get in contact with him. But shout out to him. He's putting in work for the Era 21 brand overseas and working on getting a bigger squad out there. So putting in work for the regionals over there. So
another quick shout out to my APM family. You know what I'm saying? The Attic and Philly, man. We ended up winning a worldwide contest for King Ice. You know what I'm saying? A music video.
I watched that.
Yeah.
I was just talking
and
about
it was crazy the different people that we were battling it out against. Like when it came down to like the final 3, it was us, another dude, I can't even remember where he was from, but there was this white girl from London, and she was smashing it too. And you know the fact that, you know what I'm saying, we came out and we did that. So big props to Attic and Philly for being a part of that.
Nice. Philly, you got to get at me again, get in another Rapper's Delight, dog. You did the one and you killed it, bro. You got to do another one, bro.
Got him. Anybody that wants to hop on any kind of competition scene and wants to be heard, I'd say hop on the Rapper's Delight. If you're a newcomer, if you're a vet, I've performed, I've competed. It just gives you a whole nother platform, gives you an opportunity to network with some cats that have been doing this for a while, get your stage presence going. So if you're doing things in Wyoming and you want to get your foot in the door a little further, I'd say holler at Osh and get on that Rapper's Delight.
And I'm coming out of retirement, just to let y'all know. So be on the lookout.
You heard it here first. You heard it. You heard it. Exclusive. So now if you don't, you guys can holler at him. So you better get on that.
I'm actually putting the finishing touches on an album. I wasn't going to talk about that on here, but be on the lookout for grown folks music. I was supposed to drop it last year, and I had some family issues. I lost my grandmother. But you know what I'm saying? Grown folks music is dropping this year, so keep an eye out for it.
Boom. All right then. So we're getting close now, so we'll get ready to wrap it up. Any last shout outs you want to give?
Nah, man, just thanks for having me, for real.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here, man.
We absolutely really appreciate it. So there it is, folks. Another episode of Noise from Nowhere. It's your man Osh from the Ghost.
Duke Wallace, Era 21, baby.
Roof, your man DJ Nyke.
Wyoming love.
Peace.
Midwest renegade hooligan who was here repping it heavily. Dookie Mane and no shade. Take 2 shots straight to the brain. Ice grilled out like I'm hella paid. Whoa, take your ass up to the helipad. Toss your ass in to propeller blades. You know the boys stay too insane. What? Renegade.